Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for coming together to immerse ourselves in this rich body of wisdom we call Torah. We are starting a new book in Torah called Bamidbar, Book of Numbers. We will read through the English translation of our weekly portion. I'll share with you a focused study about it, and then we'll have the opportunity to have a collaborative conversation about it. If you're muted and you'd like to join in the recitation of the blessing with all of us, feel free to unmute at this time as we give thanks for the opportunity of this moment. Baruch
Baruch
atah
atah
Adonai
Adonai
Eloheinu
Eloheinu
melech
melech
haolam
haolam
asher
asher
kiddushanu
kitshanu b'mitzvotav
b'mitzvotav
v'tzivanu
v'tzivanu
la'asok
la'asok
b'divrei
divrei
Torah.
Torah. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to immerse ourselves in words and deeds and relationships of Torah. I'll share with you the opening verses and then I'll give others an opportunity to read as well. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 1. On the first day of the second month, in the second year following the exodus from the land of Egypt, God spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of meeting, saying, Take a census of the whole Israelite community by the clans of its ancestral houses, listing the names every male head by head. You and Aaron shall record them by their groups from the age of 20 years up, all those in Israel who are able to bear arms. Associated with you shall be a man from each tribe, each one the head of his ancestral house. These are the names of the men who shall assist you. From Reuben, Elazar, son of Shadur. From Simeon, Shelumiel, son of Zurishaddai. From Judah, Nachshon, son of Aminadab. From Issachar, Nathaniel, son of Zuar. From Zebulun, Eliab, son of Chelon. From the sons of Joseph, from Ephraim, Elishama, son of Ammichud. From Manasseh, Gamaliel, son of Pedachsur. From Benjamin, Abidan, son of Gideoni. From Dan, Achizeo, son of Amminadab. From Asher, Pagliel, son of Ochran. From Gad, Eliasaph, son of Deuel. From Naphtali, Ahira, son of Enan. Those are the elected of the assembly, the chieftains of the ancestral tribes. They are the heads of the contingents of Israel. Richard, would you like to read starting at verse 17?
Thank you, Rabbi. Yes. So Moses and Aaron took those men who were designated by name. And on the first day of the second month, they convoked the whole community who were registered by the clans of their ancestral houses, the names of those aged 20 years and over being listed head by head, as the Lord had commanded Moses, so he recorded them in the wilderness of Sinai. They told as follows: the descendants of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house, as listed by name, head by head, all males aged 20 years and over, all who are able to bear arms, those enrolled from the tribe of Reuben, 46,500. Of the descendants of Simeon, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house, their enrollment as listed by name, head by head, all males aged 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms, those enrolled from the tribe of Simeon, 59,300. Of the descendants of Gad, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house, as listed by name, aged 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms, those enrolled from the tribe of Gad, 45,650. Of the descendants of Judah, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house, as listed by name, aged 20 years and above and over, all who were able to bear arms, those enrolled from the tribe of Judah, 74,600.
Thank you, Richard. David, would you like to read a little bit starting at verse 28?
Sure. Of the descendants of Issachar, registration of the clans of their ancestral house as listed by name, age 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms, Those enrolled from the tribe of Issachar, 54,400. Of the descendants of Zebulun, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house, as listed by name, aged 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms. Those enrolled from the tribe of Zebulun, 57,400. Of the descendants of Joseph, of the descendants of Ephraim, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house as listed by name, aged 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms. Those enrolled from the tribe of Ephraim, 40,500. Of the descendants of Manasseh, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house as listed by name, aged 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms. Those enrolled from the tribe of Manasseh, 32,200. Of the descendants of Benjamin, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house as listed by name, aged 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms. Those enrolled from the tribe of Benjamin, 35,400. Of the descendants of Dan, the registration of the clans of their ancestral house as listed by name, aged 20 years and over, all who were able to bear arms. Those enrolled from the tribe of Dan, 62,700.
Oh, thank you so much, Dave. Let me invite Margot. Would you like to read a little bit, starting at verse 40?
Thank you. Of the descendants of Asher, the registration of the clans of their ancestors' house, as listed by name, aged 20 years and over, and all of whom were able to bear arms. Those enrolled from the tribe of Asher is 41,500. Of the descendants of Naphtali, the registration of the name of their ancestral house listed by name, aged 20 years and over, and all of them were able to bear arms. Those enrolled from the tribe of Naphtali are 53,400. Those are the enrollments recorded by Moses and Aaron and by the chieftains of Israel, who were 12 in number, one man to each ancestral house. All of the Israelites aged 20 years and over, enrolled by ancestral houses, all of those in Israel who I lost something. All the Israelites aged 20 years and over, enrolled by ancient houses, all those in Israel who were able to bear arms, all who were enrolled came to five.
603,000.
I have 550 here.
603,550.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm going to invite Mark. Let me see if you share with us, starting with verse 47.
Thank you, Rabbi. The Levites, however, were not recorded among them by their ancestral tribe. For the Lord had spoken to Moses, saying, Do not on any account enroll the tribe of Levi or take a census of them with the Israelites. You shall put the Levites in charge of the tabernacle of the pact, all its furnishings and everything that pertains to it. They shall carry the tabernacle and all its furnishings, and they shall tend it, and they shall camp around the tabernacle. When the tabernacle is to set out, the Levites shall take it down, and when the tabernacle is to be pitched, the Levites shall set it up. Any outsider who encroaches shall be put to death. The Israelites shall encamp troop by troop, each man with his division, and each under his standard. The Levites, however, shall camp around the tabernacle of the pact, that wrath may not strike the Israelite community. The Levites shall stand guard around the tabernacle of the pact. The Israelites did accordingly, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. So they did.
Thank you so much. Jim, would you like to read a little bit, starting at the very beginning of chapter 2?
Thank you, Rabbi. God spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, "The Israelites shall camp, each with his standard, under the banners of their ancestral house. They shall camp around the tent of meetings at a distance. Camped on the front or east side, the standard of the division of Judah, troop by troop. Chieftain of Judites, Nashon, son of Amminadab, his troop as enrolled 74,600. Capping next to it, the tribe of Issachar, chieftain of the Issacharites, Nathaniel, son of Zuar, his troop as enrolled 54,400. The tribe of Zebulun, chieftain of the Zebulunites, Eliab, son of Helon, his troop as enrolled 57,400. The total enrolled in the division of Judah, 186,400 for all troops. These shall march first. On the south, the standard of the division of Reuben, troop by troop, chieftain of the Reubenites, Eleazar, son of Shedeur, his troops as enrolled 46,500. Camping next to it, the tribe of Simeon, chief of the Simeonites, Shalumiel, son of Zurishadai, his troop as enrolled 59,300. And the tribe of Gad, chieftain of the Gadites, Eliasaph, son of Ruel, his troop is as enrolled 45,650. The total enrolled in the division of Reuben, 151,450 for all troops. These shall march second. Then midway between the divisions, the tent of meeting in the division of the Levites shall move. As they camp, so shall they march, each in position by their standards.
Thank you so much. And Justin and Linda, would you like to read a little bit, starting at verse 18 of chapter 2?
Thanks, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Let's see. So we're at verse 18.
Yes.
Thank you. The banner of the camp of Ephraim, according to their legions, shall be to the west. And the leader of the children of Ephraim is Elishama, son of Amihud. Its legion and their count are 40,500. Those encamping near him are the tribe of Manasseh, and the leader of the children of Manasseh is Gamaliel, son of Pedahzur. Its legion and their count are 32,200, and the tribe of Benjamin, and the leader of the children of Benjamin is Abidan, son of Gideoni. Its legion and their count are 35,400. All those counted for the camp of Ephraim are 108,100, according to their legions. They shall be the third journey. The banner of the camp of Dan shall be to the north, according to their legions, and the leader of the children of Dan is Ahiezer, son of Amishadai. Its legion and their count are 62,700. Those encamping near him are the tribe of Asher, and the leader of the children of Asher is Pagliel, son of Ochran. Its legion and their count are 41,500, and the tribe of Naphtali, and the leader of the children of Naphtali is Ahira, son of Enan. Its legion and their count are 53,400. All those counted for the camp of Dan are 157,600. They shall be the last to journey according to their banners.
And these are the numbers of the Israelites according to their fathers' houses. The total number of legions of the camps was 603,550. However, the Levites were not counted with the rest of the Israelites, as the Lord commanded Moses. The Israelites did all that the Lord had commanded Moses, They encamped by their divisions, and so did they journey, each man with his family, according to his father's house.
Would you read a little bit more, Justin? Thank you.
Chapter 3. These are the descendants of Aaron and Moses on the day that the Lord spoke to Moses at Mount Sinai. These are the names of the sons of Aaron: Nadab, the firstborn, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aaron, the anointed Kohanim, whom he consecrated to serve as Kohanim. Nadab and Abihu died before the Lord when they brought alien fire before the Lord in the Sinai desert, and they had no children. Eleazar and Ithamar, however, served as Kohanim in the presence of Aaron, their father. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Bring forth the tribe of Levi, and present them before Aaron the Cohen, that they may serve him. They shall keep his charge and the charge of the entire community before the tent of meeting, to perform the service of the Mishkan. They shall take charge of all the vessels of the tent of meeting, and the charge of the children of Israel to perform the service of the Mishkan. You shall give over the Levites to Aaron and his sons, and they shall be wholly given over to him from the children of Israel. You shall appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall keep their kehuna. Any outsider, non-Cohen, who approaches shall be put to death."
Thank you. Thank you both so much. Let me invite Robert. Would you like to continue there at verse 11?
Yes, thank you. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, And I, behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of all the firstborn that openeth the matrix among the children of Israel. Therefore the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. For on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be. I am the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, saying, Number the children of Levi after the house of their fathers, by their families, every male from a month old and upward shalt thou number them. And Moses numbered them according to the word of the Lord, as he was commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon and Kohath and Merari. And these are the names of the sons of Gershon by their families, Libni and Shimei. And the sons of Kohath by their families, Amram and Izahar, Hebron and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari by their families, Mahli and Mushi. These are the families of the Levites according to the house of their fathers. Of Gershon was the family of the Libnites and the family of the Shemites. These are the families of the Gershonites. Those that were numbered of them, according to the number of all the males, from a month old and upward, even those that were numbered of them were 7,500. The families of the Gershonites shall pitch behind the tabernacle westward, and the chief of the house of the father of the Gershonites shall be Elisaph, the son of Lael. And the charge of the sons of Gershon and the tabernacle of the congregation shall be the tabernacle and the tent and the covering thereof and the hanging for the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hangings of the court and the curtain for the door of the court which is by the tabernacle and by the altar round about, and the cords of it for all the service thereof.
Thank you so much. Let me invite Norm. Would you like to read starting at verse 27?
Sure, thank you. To Kohath belonged the clan of the Amramites, the clan of the Izharites, the clan of the Hebronites, and the clan of the Uzzielites. Those were the clans of the Kohathites. All the listed males from the age of 1 month up came to 8,600, attending to the duties of the sanctuary. The clans of the Kohathites were to camp along the south side of the tabernacle. The chieftain of the ancestral house of the Kohathite clan was Elizaphat, son of Uzziel. Their duties comprised the ark, the table, the lampstand, the altars, and the sacred utensils that were used with them, and the screen, all the service connected with these. The head chieftain of the Levites was Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, in charge of those attending the duties of the sanctuary. To Merari belonged the clan of the Mahalites and the clan of the Mushites. Those were the clans of Merari. The recorded entries of their males from the age of 1 month up came to 6,200. The chieftain of the ancestral house of the clans of Merari was Zuriel, son of Abihail. They were to camp along the north side of the tabernacle. The assigned duties of the Merarites comprised the planks of the tabernacle, its bars, posts, and sockets, and all its furnishings, all the service connected with these. Also, the posts around the enclosure and their sockets, pegs, and cords. Those who were to camp before the tabernacle in front, before the tent of meeting, on the east were Moses and Aaron and his sons, attending to the duties of the sanctuary, as a duty on behalf of the Israelites, and any outsider who encroached was to be put to death. All the Levites who were recorded, whom Adonai's commanded Moses and Aaron recorded by their clans, all the males from the age of 1 month up came to 22,000.
Thank you so much. Jay, would you like to read a little bit? We're at verse 40.
Thank you, Rabbi. Hashem said to Moses, record every firstborn male of the Israelite people from the age of 1 month up and make a list of their names, and take the Levites for me, Hashem, in place of every firstborn among the Israelite people, and the cattle of the Levites, in place of every firstborn among the cattle of the Israelites. So Moses recorded all the firstborn among the Israelites, as Yud-Heh Vav-Heh had commanded him. All the firstborn males as listed by name recorded from the age of 1 month up came to 22,223. Hashem spoke to Moses saying, take the Levites in place of all the firstborn among the Israelite people, and the cattle of the Levites in place of their cattle, and the Levites shall be mine. And as the redemption price of the 273 Israelite firstborn over and above the number of Levites, take 5 shekels per head. Take this by the sanctuary weight, 20 gerahs to the shekel, and give the money to Aaron and his sons at the redemption price for those who are in excess. So Moshe took the redemption money from those over and above the ones redeemed by the Levites. He took the money from the firstborn of the Israelites, 1,365 sanctuary shekels. And Moshe gave the redemption money to Aaron and his sons at Hashem's bidding, as Adonai had commanded Moses.
Thank you so much. And then, Margot, we're now at the beginning of chapter 4. Would you like to read a little bit again?
The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Take a census of the Kohanites among the Levites by the clans of their ancestral houses, from the age of 30 years up to the age of 50, all who are subject to service to service to perform tasks for the tent of meeting. This is the this is the responsibility of the Kohenites in the tent of meetings. The most sacred objects. At, at the breaking of the camp, Aaron and his sons shall go up and take down the screening curtain, and cover the ark of the pact with it. They shall lay a covering of dolphin over it, and set a cloth of pure blue on top, and they shall put the poles in place. Over the tabernacle display, they shall spread a blue cloth. They shall place upon it the the bowls, the ladles, the jars for libation, and the jars, and the libation jugs, and the regular bread, and the regular bread shall rest upon it. They shall spread over those a crimson cloth, which they shall cover with a covering of dolphin skin, and they shall put the poles in place. Then they shall take a blue cloth and cover the lampstand for lighting with the lamps, the tongs, and the posts, as well as all the oil vessels that are used in the service. They shall put it and all the furnishings into a covering of dolphin skin, which they shall then place on the carrying frame.
Thank you so much. We're now at verse 11. I'll share those next several verses with you. Next, they shall spread a blue cloth over the altar of gold and cover it with a covering of dolphin skin. And they shall put its poles in place. They shall take all the service vessels with which the service in the sanctuary is performed, and put them into a blue cloth, and cover them with a covering of dolphin skin, which they shall then place on a carrying frame. They shall remove the ashes from the copper altar and spread a purple cloth over it. Upon it they shall place all the vessels that are used in the service, the fire pans, the flesh hooks, the scrapers, and the basins, all the vessels of the altar. And over it they shall spread a covering of dolphin skin, and they shall put its poles in place. When Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sacred objects and all the furnishings of the sacred objects at the breaking of camp, only then shall the Kohathites come and lift them, so that they do not come in contact with the sacred objects and die. These things in the tent of meeting shall be the porterage of the Kohathites. Responsibility shall rest with Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, for the lighting oil, the aromatic incense, the regular meal offering, and the anointing oil. Responsibility for the whole tabernacle and for everything consecrated that is in it or in its vessels. God spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, do not let the group of Kohathite clans be cut off from the Levites. Do this with them that they may live and not die when they approach the most sacred objects. Let Aaron and his sons go in and assign each of them to his duties and to his porterage. But let not the Kohathites go inside and witness the dismantling of the sanctuary, lest they die. Well, that's our entire Torah portion of the week. And so I'd like to share with you a focus study about it. If you have a copy of the study sheet, I invite you to take it out. So here we are. This is the very opening up of the book of Numbers. And, in years past, when I read the book of Leviticus, which comes immediately before, I would often feel as if I would feel begrudging that we had to leave behind both the drama of all the stories that were in Genesis, the drama of Exodus, and then find ourselves settled into place in this stagnant environment called the book of Leviticus, where there's virtually no narrative, no storyline, virtually no human drama. It is a recitation of a variety of rites and rituals that are to be conducted primarily by the priests who are operating the service at the tent of meeting. And then we get to the book of Numbers. And I feel as soon as I turn to the book of Numbers, I feel this sense of there's a stirring of human energy. Finally we get to go back on the journey after having just sat still for so long. And I feel the dust rising up as the camels start rising back up, and everyone's binding up their tents and they're packing up everything and they're getting ready to move on again. And we're going to move not just physically, but once again, we're going to enter into narrative and storyline and human drama. And we're going to experience and read about human heroism and human failure. We're going to read about nobility. We're going to read about transgressions. We're going to read about all kinds of activity in human drama. And I thought, going through the book of Leviticus, I would often feel was like an obligation just to get back into the action, to get back into the storyline. Increasingly, though, over the last few years, I've had a different view about the book of Leviticus, that it's in the middle of everything for a reason. We have to go through there. We pass through the book of Leviticus to get to the remainder of Torah for a reason. There's a reason why the book of Leviticus is part of the uh, wayfaring stops along the way. And increasing over the last few years, I've realized that the book of Leviticus is really a book about love and intimacy. And that's the message of it. So as we make this transition from book of Leviticus to the book of Numbers, I wonder, are we then to just leave behind that that stop that we had, that moment of contemplative cessation of all of our busy activity, and then just kind of leave it behind and move on? So this year, I was really sensing the connection between Leviticus and Numbers, that there's a carryover of that lesson about love and intimacy that one can gather from the stop that is the book of Leviticus and find it here in the book of Numbers, especially in its opening. So here in chapter 2 is where I found the compelling language. And I have that here under number 1 from book of Numbers, chapter 2, verse 2. Each of the children of Israel shall camp with his flag under the banner of their ancestral house. First of all, what I found compelling there is each person has his own flag. Here, the Hebrew there is diglo, his flag. And the notion that we each have a kind of unique flag is kind of interesting. And then the rabbis thought this was interesting as well, the ancient rabbis, because they're going to pick up on that word flag and they're going to find that word in a very particular place in the Jewish Bible. And they're going to associate it with this language here. So here in number 2 is from the Midrash Bamidbar Rabbah, and it says this: when God revealed God's self on Mount Sinai, 22,000 angels descended with God, and they were all arrayed under separate flags, degalim, degalim. As it is said, they were made preeminent by flags, daglu. And that's from the Song of Songs. When Israel saw them arrayed under distinguishing flags, they began to long for flags too. And they said, oh, that we could also be arranged under flags, just like them, just like the angels. Said the Holy Blessed One, how eager you are to be arranged under flags. I shall fulfill your desire. God immediately informed Israel by telling Moses, "Go arrange them under flags, degalim, as they have desired." Therefore it is said, "He brought me into the house of wine, and his flag below with love is over me," from the Song of Songs. So the feeling that the early rabbis had when they read this verse from our Torah portion, that each child of Israel shall be camped with their flag, it evoked for them the Song of Songs. The Song of Songs, as we know, is that unique book in the Jewish Bible that is a book about sensuousness and love and intimacy. And those are the feelings that the rabbis are reading into this notion about the flags, that they are to be not just flags of a martial, if you will, march, but these are flags connoting distinction and specialness, and a specialness that is accompanied by a sense of love and intimacy. Uh, in another midrash, um, the sense of being in the wilderness is conveyed this way. We read in the very opening verse of this week's portion, "And Adonai spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai." And also in the same book of Midrash, Midrash Rabbah, it says this, "Why in the wilderness of Sinai? Because anyone who does not throw himself open to all, like a wilderness, cannot acquire wisdom and Torah." And the word that's used in Hebrew to convey open to all is hefker. And hefker is a word that has special import when it appears in halacha, in the Talmud. Hefker is something that is ownerless. And so there are special rules and laws about what do you do with an object that seems to have no one who owns it, how should it be treated? So the image that the rabbis are conveying about the sense of wilderness is you should be like the wilderness too, open, unpossessed, non-possessive, if you will, because that's the only way to receive this body of wisdom. This body of wisdom is meant to be shared with anyone who's interested in partaking of it. And it reminded me of these verses, that sense of it being available to anyone. And that's how you carry yourself, and you carry yourself with this, receiving this body of wisdom. "Whoever is thirsty, come to the waters. And you who have no money, come buy and eat." And that's from the prophet Isaiah. And in fact, when the rabbis read that verse from the prophet Isaiah, they say, the waters, coming to the waters, anyone who's thirsty, that's Torah. Anyone who's thirsty, come to the waters that are Torah and drink from them, if you will. So here we have this sense of, on the one hand, it looks like it is merely business as usual, packing up the tents, people who are capable of carrying arms, those 20 years and over, are the ones who are counted. And so it sounds rather externally oriented, back out into the world. And there is this verse that is interpreted by the rabbis as understanding. It's also carrying that sense of love and intimacy that was part of the lesson from Leviticus. And that's what everyone should experience of being embraced by. So if you turn over, share with you with number 4. This is again the Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotz, who's one of the great early Hasidic rabbis, the Kotzker Rebbe, is someone who, as the Hasidic tradition in general wants to remind us, is lest we think that the primary narrative is about action in the outside world, and hence that redemption comes from something outside of oneself. He's going to remind us, as one of the great early leaders of the Hasidic tradition, to look at a different dimension. And here's what he said. People are accustomed to look at the heavens and to wonder what happens there. It would be better if they would look within themselves to see what happens there. So this is the Kotzker Rebbe saying the primary field of journeying and movement and battle is not on the outside world, it's on the inside world. And that's where our primary focus should be. So with that, I'd like to share with you the painting that's on the front. And this is by Paul Cézanne, Still Life with Apples. And what's one of the things that's fascinating about it, for me anyway, is that there are no signs, so no signifiers that this is actually a room. There's no window, there are no doorways, there are no chairs, there's nothing hanging on what presumably is a wall. If there's a table, it's a little bit hard to discern. And so one of the extraordinary things about Cézanne began by working very closely with the Impressionists, especially with Camille Pissarro, and eventually he kind of went his own way, and he was less interested in the transiency of the moment, which is what the Impressionists were fascinated by. And he began saying, I'm looking for that which is enduring rather than that which is transient. And what he found enduring was in the geometric patterns of objects. And here you can see what he has done is he's created a series of planes, and he has also basically defied the classical notion of perspective, because here we have apples in the front that are virtually falling downward. We have a little pot, a sugar jar, perhaps, that is next to the apples that seems to almost be floating in the air. We have this blue cloth that is arranged in ways to make it seem almost as if they are waves of water. And then we have a white cloth on the right-hand side that is shaped as if they are land formations. And perhaps the back is not a wall at all. Perhaps that's the sky. Maybe this is the outdoors. And so what he has done was he has brought elements of his landscape, and he's designed an interior space. So the dynamics of an expanse of the exterior world has now permeated the otherwise static and confined construction of the interior world. And one of the fascinating things about Cézanne's landscapes is that, unlike many other artists, many of his landscapes have no human figure in them. And on the one hand, it allowed him to emphasize the geometric structure of landscapes. But also, I was thinking today that it doesn't mean that he wasn't interested in the human figure. Uh, it may be that he saw the human presence there in a different way. I mean, Cézanne is acknowledged to be the really progenitor of what we today call modern art. And much of modern art has to do with the elimination of the human figure and the increasing orientation towards abstraction. But many of the great modern artists were not merely interested in color and form. They were excited and enthused and fascinated by other dimensions of human existence. That is, primarily the psychological, the emotional, and the spiritual. And so when one encounters much modern art, sometimes what you're seeing there is the artist's attempt to express without human figures human existence, just in a different way. And Cézanne is really the one who kicks that off. And so one can see that one can think perhaps that his landscapes is filled with a sense of humanity. It's just that they're absent human figures in the representation. So what he has done here is he's brought the outside inside, and he's managed to bring a sense of the infinite expanse to the interior scenes. And in that sense, he's brought together two worlds interpenetrating and informing one another. And I want to suggest that's in part what is happening here in this transition from Leviticus to Numbers. The intimacy of Leviticus is now finding its way, permeating what otherwise might just seem to be an outdoor scene of camels and tents and people marching on their journey. And the rabbis are reminding us to see it as a scene of intimacy. To emphasize that, the rabbis chose as the Haftarah portion, but the Torah portion, verses from the prophet Hosea. And of course, one of the remarkable things about the prophet Hosea was prophet Hosea experienced his sense of connection with God through the intimacy of marriage. And these are the verses that are part of this week's Haftarah portion. I will betroth you to me forever. I'll betroth you to me in righteousness and justice, in steadfast love and compassion. I will betroth you to me in faithfulness, and you shall know Adonai. So as we set off again in the book of Numbers on the grand journey across an expanse, the rabbis are teasing out for us this message that really the grand journey across an expanse is one that is in which we are all wrapped up in intimate, loving connection with the source of all life. And as perhaps the Hasidic tradition is mentioning to us, and perhaps the grand journey across an expanse is across the expanse of our own interior life. So with that, I'd love to know what you experienced and thought as we embarked upon this new journey, Bamidbar. Richard and then Sherry, yeah.
One little thing, but a big thing, I think. When God revealed God's self on Mount Sinai, 22,000 angels descended. This is the book of Numbers, and there are many numbers. And it's all about, who's old enough to carry a gun or a weapon. 20 and up. There's just one exception to that. And that is all the Levites, this is line 39 in Numbers 3, were recorded, whom at the Lord's command, Moses and Aaron recorded by their clans, all the males from age of 1 month up came to 22,000. So I see the love there involved. The priesthood is making such care of all these objects, which takes a lot of concentration, and it involves a lot of love and dedication. And that love, that vibration of love that they're involved with or portrayed as being involved with, is not about weaponry. It's about sending the love vibration into the next phase, is all becoming angels.
Thank you.
It's
Lovely.
a round number too.
That's lovely. Thank you. Let me call upon Sherry and then I'll get to Dave. Yeah, sure.
I just have a question actually about a flag, and I know what a flag is in modernity. I'm wondering what a flag is during this time, at this ancient time, and why all the discussion about flags and who's under what flag, and what is that all about?
Well, it's a good question because the Hebrew noun flag is built upon a Hebrew verb, dagal, which means to look or to behold, uh, to be exalted. So maybe we are mistaken when when we're trying to think about something as a piece of material. Maybe the word flag might be better translated as uh, each shall be encamped with his own exaltationness, his own distinctionness, his own character and trait that causes them to be beheld, to be special. And then that kind of, when one wants to put it in the context of Song of Songs, um, maybe when it says, He brought me into the house of wine, His flag of love is over me. Maybe we think about His own expression of exaltation and specialness about me is over me.
So it doesn't have to be something that is a tangible object at all. It can be an abstract thought, an abstraction about what it means to be under a certain,
Authenticity.
yeah, maybe.
Protection,
Yeah.
yeah. So, it could be all those dimensions, and it could be when someone makes a physical flag that they're trying to create designs into it that express something about themselves. When we give a name to a child in a Hebrew naming ceremony, uh, we ask parents to think about what qualities you see in this child and what you want to bestow upon them. So the name is also kind of like a flag. It's like, this is who I am, and telling the world this is who I am as seen by my parents. So,
There's also all of this talk about armaments and who carries what armaments and so on. What if the flag has nothing to do with what I'm thinking in modernity as a flag and arms and identity as a nation, but maybe it's each individual human being living under a flag of God.
well, it's a lovely thought. I think it's a lovely, lovely thought. Yeah. And these things are not necessarily uh, oppositional to one another. They're just different dimensions of what we're imagining. And so it's lovely. Let me call upon Dave.
Let's see. Am I muted? No, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to say a word about dolphin skins. This has come up before. We know there were no dolphins swimming in the area, so they weren't. It was a fabric what really wasn't made out of skins of dolphins, and I kind of attribute to you've heard of a shark skin suit, of course. Shark skin suit isn't made out of shark skin. It's a fabric that looks something like shark skins. So this is what I guess these dolphin skins are. But then I wanted to add this. This just came to me today. You notice that things are always covered with dolphin skin. It must have been a very hard to make fabric, very difficult to make fabric. And they probably had a prohibition against using it anyplace else except in the tabernacle. And this is what I want to bring out is really, and nobody knows right now how it's made. And that was purposely, it was just made for this and it could never be reproduced anyplace else. It's a very rare type of fabric that is called velvet.
Fascinating. It certainly must have been very thick and to provide that level of protection for very precious objects. Yeah. Fascinating. Thank you so much, Dave. Let me invite Norm and then Robert.
Um, Going through my head, I don't have this really well thought out, but I see themes of individuality, identity, and partnership running through this parsha and the last, at least the last parsha. What is the relationship of people to themselves? They have these flags that individuals themselves get they're members of the tribes, and that's part of their identity. There's the ongoing relationship with God. That was hit hard in last week's parsha with all the things that you should do and you shouldn't do, and this is what's going to happen. Um, uh, Identity and partnership is what strikes me.
I love that. So, Norm, what you're kind of hinting at, in a sense, this is setting up the book of Numbers in a certain way, our expectations. If we've never read this book before, we're starting off with this sense of familial identity, tribal identity, clan identity, individual identity, an identity with God, and everyone has is arrayed around the Mishkan. The Mishkan is the center of the community, and the tribes have specific alignments around it. Everyone, in a sense, has a place at the table, so there's a sense of overall community.
Yeah.
And then we're going to, as we go further into the book of Numbers, we're going to see the tensions that then erupt, and we're going to start seeing some erosion of that sense of community and connection and attachment and affiliation and so forth. So
I
it's
see.
yeah, go ahead.
I see a kind of a setup for this in the beginning of the parsha, saying that we've been out of Egypt for a year and a month, and you were just slaves a little over a year ago. And what are we going to do now? What's the next step?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we've got to defend ourselves. We've also got to know ourselves, who we are as people and as members of a group and as of a religious community.
And Norma, it's great to remind us that these are just this is just their second year. We're starting off the second year of the release from Egypt, and taking us back to the book of Leviticus and the message there. One would think, oh, okay, we have this. We have these set of rituals and rites, and we have the expressions of love and intimacy, and so we're going to be different people now. And we're going to see how hard it is to make this for people to transition from one way of life that was based upon brutality and enslavement and constriction and constraint to all of
Yeah.
a sudden being noble and free and kind. And we're going to discover that just because you're told that you're noble people, just because you're told that you're loved, doesn't necessarily mean that you can act that way, that you can act as an expression of that. So thanks for bringing all that material up. Let me call upon Robert.
Well, thank you again for another lovely evening. It's always a pleasure. So you piqued my interest when you pointed out that Leviticus is right in the center of the five books. So I haven't been able to let this go since you said that. That's just how my mind works. So two images came to mind. Number one is a man who sleeps. He rises and he works in the field all day. In the middle, he takes his lunch, his sustenance. Then he works for another half. So what came to my mind in that image was that the Israelites were asleep with regard to monotheism. And now we have the first two books of Torah setting the stage. And now we get to the center, which takes me to my second image, and that is of the body. And you've often referred to the body of the Torah, which I can relate to very, very well. I think we all can. What is in the center of our bodies? God is one, his creation is one, science, religion, reality, they all must cohere because he works only in one way, which is the absolutely perfect way. Now, what is in the middle of us but the heart? Again, thinking of that time, what is it that they needed for sustenance? What is it that they needed for heart, for strength? And that was discipline and a test of faith. Many are called, but few are chosen, quoting Baha'u'llah. And then we have the head and we have the feet. And so those were the two images that came to mind.
Beautiful. So, Robert, I'm gonna pick up on where you pointed us to in terms of that sense of core and middleness, and I'm going to observe that if the book of Leviticus is the middle of Torah, the middle of the book of Leviticus is what we call Kiddushim, the holiness code, which starts off this way. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the whole Israelite community and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, Adonai, your God, am holy. You shall each honor, revere your mother and your father, and keep my Sabbaths. I, Adonai, am your God. And then it goes on to list other forms of both spiritual and ethical behaviors. And so that's at the heart, at the heart, at the heart of everything. So thank you very
That's
much
lovely.
for
That's
taking us.
lovely. Thank you. That's lovely.
Thank you. So I want to acknowledge that this is a great journey to be on, and I can't imagine. I'm so grateful to have companions such as all of you, and I do feel especially when I'm with all of you, that we're all marching under banners of love, and that's what gets us through the most difficult of times. Thank you all. God bless you all. I look forward to our next gathering. Thank you.
Thank you. A
Thank
lovely
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.